Welcome back to another episode of the Great Area Podcast. I'm your host, Macheza Bawana, here with my co-host TJ. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. How you been? How was your week?
Pretty good, man. How about you?
It was all right.
All right. So, do you want to start off the first topic?
Yeah. Actually, so like the topic I was gonna talk about what you sent me about the kid. I want you to start off.
All right. Which one
the
about
rapper
the kid?
the one that the rapper turned himself in?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, YFN
Yeah.
Lucci. He I saw this on Willie D's YouTube channel. I guess he got charged with murder. But
Right.
it's just one thing with that is a rapper and he like certain people seem to feel they have to
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, man.
I was saying that people seem like they need to uphold this image of being a gangster or a thug, and you're rich, and the whole point of getting rich is so that you don't have to be involved in drama. They think of themselves in that drama sometimes, or sometimes haters. I don't know. Maybe friends. I don't know, or fake friends. You should have some people around you. You would think if he had some real friends around him, they would tell him to kind of not mess around with stuff like that and just try to put yourself in a better situation.
I think one thing you'll notice too is these are always young kids, man. It's usually people under the age of 30, right? You don't see people over the age of 30, rappers like that, getting in too much trouble, right, with shooting people and things like that because they have shit to lose. And it's really an immature mentality, kind of like the guy was saying, is, stuff like that, like having a rep, all that stuff. Like, I think you grow out of that. If you don't grow out of that, I mean, that's kind of scary. Like, you're 40 years old and you're like, you'll still go to jail to make a point. That's just
yeah, it is.
You're not weighing your fucking options. Like fuck that. So it's because he's young and his friends are saying all this shit that shouldn't really matter to him. He should be more mature. I'm just making up a scenario. I don't know what happened, but apparently two of his friends went in there, or two people who were at the scene, whatever it was. And then they wanted him, and he turned himself in. You know why? Because he got a fucking lawyer. And the lawyer was like, this is probably your best option.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm guessing the friends, because I see it on First 48 all the time, it's like, I'm guessing the friends, they just go in there, they think they can fool the police, and the police tell you when they fucking arrest you, you have the right to an attorney. Please invoke that right. Invoke that right. Don't go in there thinking you're going to fool the cops.
Well, I mean, if the cops have stuff, they'll let them prove to what they have. A lot of times, you're not dealing with the smartest people in the world, So,
well, I wouldn't say not the smartest, because I would say that people like my neck of the woods and suburbs aren't any smarter or dumber than people in the
and they would
city
tell on themselves too.
Yeah, it's
they snitch
right?
too. They snitch even faster. But I'm not. That's not the point. The point is they still not the smartest people in the world, whether you're from the suburbs or the inner city. It's not a race thing. I'm just saying, when you get involved in that situation, usually, unless you get told on, you're not dealing with the smartest people in the world because you did something to make yourself hot. And when you start talking, when they tell you you have the right to remain silent, and you continue to talk anyway, it's usually, just in my opinion, it's a sign of fear and you just run your mouth too much when you should just shut up and wait for the lawyer. And
yeah, I wonder how much of it is it's just not, because it's not the most confusing thing in the world if you sit there and listen. But if they just put it in just layman's terms, like, hey man, you can ask for a lawyer right now, and I can't ask you any question. Or hey man, you don't have to say shit. Instead of reading the Miranda.
Yeah,
like
but people know that. People still know that.
They should.
I mean, we know what that means. It's but people listen with emotions, not with logic. So they're going off emotion. If a person's scared, if they don't want to do the time, they're just gonna start talking. You ever seen that? People do that all the time. Think about when you like a female, or if a female likes a guy, they just start talking. They just start running off at the mouth because they're nervous. I mean, it's just something people do from what I've seen. And
I do it.
Yeah, the smart thing to do would just be to be quiet and say, hey, well, because we all know it. I'm pretty sure these people, before they get arrested, they say, I'm not going to talk. But yet they still talk anyway. So, it's about what happens. We all like to think we would do certain things in a situation. Just go back to habit, and we just kind of go back to whatever we were programmed with, basically.
It's something you really have to prepare yourself. Just like most things in life, people think they don't have to prepare and they could just do things off the cuff and they'll be all right. And that's not really true. Like I remember when I went to school. When I was in high school, like one of the kids' dads was a lawyer. He came in for career day or something like that. And so, of course, all the kids are like, yeah, how do you get out of a DUI? And the lawyer said, this was when I was 16, the lawyer said, he goes, the way you get out of anything is shut the fuck up. And that's exactly what he said. So they're like, if you get pulled over for a DUI and the cop's like, I can smell breath on you, the burden of proof, I can smell alcohol on your breath. The burden of proof is on the state. You're going to go to court, a month later. The cop may not even show up. He may not remember, but he's not going to have any proof because you're not going to take a breathalyzer. You're not going to walk the line. You know what I mean? You can refuse all those tests. It'll cost you money, but you're not going to get a DUI.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You hit someone in your phone.
When the system is working correctly, that's correct. But sometimes when you're dealing with a racial system, sometimes you don't get the benefit of the doubt. But I get what you're saying.
No, well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And
because it's supposed to work like that.
It is supposed to work like that, but here's the whole thing: is and here's why I learned that he was right, is because when you see all these celebrities, like they get in car accidents, I guarantee you their lawyers tell them if you hit somebody else or you hit some property, run the fuck away, call me, I'll get you an Uber, just don't be on the scene. Because if you're not on the scene, the cops have to catch you in the act for that kind of stuff, right? So if you hit someone and, they come pick you up 10 minutes later at your house and you're drunk, it doesn't really fucking matter. You have to be drunk on the scene. So instead of it turning into manslaughter where it's automatically your fault, you could stay out of jail and just have to pay whatever you have to pay. That's why they always run away from the scene, man.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on the YF and Lucci story, it shows that you kind of have to be careful about the people you hang around. And if they're going to put you in a bad situation, you probably shouldn't be hanging around them. We got a lot of people that we hang around, whether it be so-called friends or family members or even coworkers, right? That really really don't have our best interests in mind. So it's important to recognize that. I had a friend one time. I was studying for a real estate exam, and he was talking about going out and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I got to study. He was like, man, you gotta come on out, man. You can do that later. That's when I realized that dude wasn't a real friend.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
person,
he could try to convince you a little bit, but if he just starts just hounding you, dude, no, you gotta chill, get on my level.
Well, it's not even get on my level. I mean, I'm just saying if somebody's trying to better their life and you saying no, put that off to party, I don't really think that's a real friend. And then come later on.
By saying, okay.
I was just saying later on, when it was time to support my business, he wouldn't do it, even though I supported his business. So it was just confirmation, basically.
Right.
I noticed another thing with the Lucci thing. A lot of this stuff is about status. Even racism is status, right? That's what I think people want, status, even more so than money. I think status might be above money, because when you talk about racism is status, right? It's the ultimate status in this country and in this world. You get to say, hey, I'm better than you simply because of my race. Not from my accomplishment, but just simply because of my race. And they can live vicariously through somebody else. And a lot of times when you look at just different races and people in general, when you see the rims and stuff like that people might buy, it's all for status to make themselves feel better than somebody else or to give them a false sense of confidence. Because when I was producing with these other guys, these guys were talking about, they were kind of like lame, but they were talking about how when they actually make it, how they're gonna get this and be able to get females, right? 'Cause I guess they were not really desired by females. So it's like a lot of this is like a way, when you see these rappers, a lot of these rappers are like simps. You just listen to their music. You know, some of these guys never really were desired by like females or, you know, have females like checking for them. So their whole thing is get fame. Some of them is get fame, get some money, and then you can get more females to pretend that they like you. Because really, that's all it is.
You need to keep the female that was with you while you were coming up is what you need to do.
Right.
You need to keep the female that was with you while you were coming up. Number one. Number two, so like when you're talking about, you know, even if you're, you know, like race is the ultimate status, I wonder how many people actually listen to lyrics in rap music. I mean, all these white people are out there, you know, buying this music and they know the lyrics, but like, are you really listening to them? But that reminds me, there was this black dude. He was part of there was like one black dude that stormed the Capitol with all these white dudes, right?
He wasn't black. He was an immigrant.
Was he? Well, you know, whatever. You know, non-white person.
Yeah.
It just he
wasn't American black. I'll say that. He wasn't American black.
Okay. So still, like the beam came out. Even if you want to bend from the Kanye line, even if you want to bend, you're still a brother in the coop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, race is like, yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and get your doctorate, get whatever, go make $50 million a year. That poor white person's still going to be like, well, at least I'm not you, dude. Like the respect. I hope the respect comes one day, but yeah, it doesn't come because you have money. Yeah.
Well, the respect has to come from yourself first, because nobody can shit on a person that has respect for themselves. Now, and in the case of that dude, a lot of times that's another status thing, though. He's trying to get close. This is my opinion, but just looking at the evidence, he's trying to get close to the status. And who is the status? Who is the higher status? The white people. He trying to put himself.
It was probably that dude that made the thing in his car. Remember that guy?
Nah, that was a Dominican or something like that. But I wouldn't
tell you, they're going to get tired, and I'm just going to watch. They're going to get tired.
All right, you can watch, but then eventually they're going to look at you and say, we ain't got no more colored people to beat up, so you next, basically. It's fear, right? It's fear. A lot of it is, you know, when people are fearful, what I notice is they'll run, they'll either be, they'll freeze, they'll comply, or they might attack. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if you attack, if you corner a scared or injured animal, they might attack. But the attacking is usually one of the last and the least of the options that people do. Usually it's comply. usually it's comply or freeze.
I mean, honestly, most of the time it should be run. It should be run. I mean, if it's just like one-on-one, I mean, it depends on the situation, but most of the time it should be run. Like, just get out of there.
Right.
Yeah, just get away from the situation.
Yeah, leave the situation. Leave the situation.
Just, I don't want to be here. Like, this isn't going to go well. I'm just going to go.
But I seen one video where a pig was in a slaughterhouse, and the pig was, like, freezing up. It couldn't, like, it was so scared it couldn't really move. It was like panic and had a panic attack, you know. So that happens too. I think a lot of people are just, they'll do that too, or they'll just freeze, you know. I remember working at this one bank, and the person got robbed, or not the person, but they robbed the bank, and the teller, one of the tellers had froze up so bad, and it affected her so bad that she had to take off work for a while, you know. It would just it just messed with her so bad, you know. So sometimes people just freeze. But it's better. I think it's better to just run or fight, you know. But usually when people fight when they're scared, it's just it's like where they shoot up something. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those kind of things. So when you see the school shooters, those people are like so scared. It's really a form of fear. When you see those school shooters, they're just so scared that and hopeless that they just shoot up something. So usually, to me, the best thing to do is just run from the situation. Or avoid it.
Yeah, you like to you like to think, everybody likes to think how they would react in a certain situation. If you don't have like military training, to get over that, or you haven't been in battle, you don't really know. You don't have any idea.
What do you mean?
If something that extreme happens to you, if you're one of the victims, for example.
Oh, yeah,
that extreme happens to you.
You never do know, man. You just hope you do.
Yeah.
But even the people in the military, they come home damaged a lot of times with PTSD, right? So it just you just never know because it's traumatic on the brain, and people handle trauma differently. But typically, when we deal with trauma, it's some kind of we have something, and then we try to overcompensate in another area, whether it be like drinking or something to kind of numb it, so we don't have to think about it anymore. I mean, I've done it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that we do in life, I think, are to balance the negatives in our life, and sometimes we, like the person who acts way overconfident, that person typically has low self-esteem. It's all just a front, right? You could tell what people those are, right? Is they're like, man, I did it. They're always giving you the resume, right? They're always giving you their resume, like I did it. They're always one-upping. It's like, dude, just chill out. We're just having a fucking conversation. I was just like, my dad makes the best lasagna. No, he doesn't. Well, you've never fucking had it.
Yeah, I can see that.
No, yeah, it's just like, just chill out. You don't have to one-up all the time. I'm just proud of my dad's lasagna, man. Maybe yours is better. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's just people always have to compete, and people like that are people who have low self-esteem. There's a lot of them. And, I've been one of those people, and, I'm not that kind of person time to time. Depends on the situation. But there are ways to, learn to just be more confident in yourself. We talk about those on the show all the time. Yeah.
You have to be present also and aware. And that's the thing. What I've noticed, I think Bob Proctor or Les Brown was talking about people who are kind of like co-stars in their life. And I would just say it more so like people are like passengers in their own body a lot of times. People are really not in control. They're actually responding to. And this me also. I've had this happen too. We're really just responding to what we're conditioned to do in that situation. That's what it seems like. People really aren't thinking about their actions. It's more so emotional responses and conditioned responses.
Yeah, there's a great analogy for that real quick is I think they talked about the elephant and the rider. Right, the rider is supposed to be in control of the elephant. The rider is thought and common sense, or whatever you want to call it, and the elephant's emotion. Now, if you let that elephant get too much control, the elephant's going to do what the fuck it wants to do. The rider can't do shit. Right? If you let that elephant just go willy-nilly. So like we were talking about the last time, it's, when you drive on the street, your car doesn't go perfectly straight. You have to make little adjustments to keep going straight, and most people don't do that. Like when it comes to emotion, the car's emotion, and the person driving is your rational mind. So imagine just letting go of the wheel, and then you start spinning out of control. You're somebody's yard, and then it gets real hard to get back on the road and get straight. So you have to constantly monitor it. You're right. Or learn how to do that. Learn to monitor your thoughts throughout.
Yeah. Well, how do you do that? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Because we're not really present. We're most so mesmerized a lot of times.
Yeah, and sometimes it's going to get away from you. It's never going to be 100%. For you to think that you're going to be 100% in anything, and you do something all the time, you're full of shit. Like I do that all the day.
So how do you suggest staying present then and being aware of your actions? Or do you have any? Okay.
Yeah, meditation big time. And that's the reason I use it is because it teaches you how to be aware of your thoughts and not let them, be just, check in with yourself and then it becomes automatic. But check in with yourself. It's like, man, I'm feeling kind of shitty right now, but why am I feeling shitty? Just look at it. Look at it. It's just an emotion. I thought about something I didn't want to think about. Let's take that thought and just push it aside. Let's try to do what we're doing right now. And then it just goes away. It's so crazy how it just goes. Go ahead.
You can go ahead. You can finish. I'll just come back after you finish.
you learn to go away. So like because people are still like this, and it's kind of funny. You see people twice our age or whatever, like 20 years older than us, still don't have control of their emotions, man. And you could tell by the kind of life they live. These aren't successful people that don't have control of their emotions.
Well, yeah, I guess
they could be negative. Yeah. I mean, that's what I do. I do meditation.
You have to control your emotions, and especially when you're successful. Especially because what I noticed is that our emotions are affected by other people's actions. That's the other thing. If you ever notice,
they don't have to be. They don't have to.
And I get that. But
right.
if somebody just if you're at a club and somebody just spills a drink on you on purpose or throws the drink in your face, you're gonna have an emotional reaction 9 times out of 10, right? Just as a guess, I mean, so
that emotion's gonna rise, yeah.
So our emotions a lot of times can be affected just by other people's actions, and we have to really, and that's when you really have to be in control to say, I'm not going to let this person get me off my square or have me do something. Because a lot of times when people do that, if they don't care about being in control of their emotions, they don't. See, emotional thinking is real short-sighted too, right? Because you can just fight somebody, and then next thing you know, you accidentally kill a person. Now you're in jail. You see that happen all the time, right?
Mm.
So I mean, so you just have to be careful.
Yeah, it's
really,
your mindset.
You have to think a couple of moves in the ahead. You have to be able to turn off the emotion and then just switch to logic real fast, which is hard to do.
As quickly as you can.
And I'm not saying I do it. I'm just saying that just when you say that and just thinking about it, that seems to be the solution or one maybe another option, maybe a better option. The other thing is habits, right? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just going to say real quick on the emotion tip that we'll let you do habits is the way I learned to do that is when I would go out, it'd be me and my girl, we go out. A lot of dudes, man, they try to test you. And they either want to go home with your girl or they want to get in a fight with you, right? And I remember this dude was grabbing my girl's ass one time. Like, he grabbed my girl's ass. He didn't know I was with her, but I was like, yo, I'm with her, man. He was like, well, I'm an OG, man. I'm going to grab her ass. I was like, I'm going to grab her ass. And then he goes to grab it again. I was like, bro.
I was black?
The guy was black, yeah. And and then he goes to grab her ass again. I smacked it away and told her, I was like, we got to go. Right? Like, we got to go because either she's going to get heated, do something stupid, I'm going to have to get in a fight. But, this guy can call me a bitch all he wants on my way out the door. If that's how that guy does when he goes around, someone's got to get him one day. Doesn't need to be me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be me. So you were going to say something about habits.
Well, yeah, but I just want to kind of elaborate on what you were just saying. So you saying, I remember you were saying this before, that a lot of guys would try to talk to your girl while you were there. Now, do you see that as a sign of disrespect? And did you ever get angry?
Yeah.
Or how did she ever respond to it? Did she ever say, hey, you need to do this, do that? Or did she like it?
No. She would laugh at him, try to ignore him. Because when it happened the first time, she told me, some guy tried to go dance up on her, right? And she was looking at me like, you need to take care of this. I'm like, I'm not going to jump in and fight him. I'm just not going to do it. You need to take care of it. So she learned how to do that.
Oh,
yeah, listen. Like when I met her, she was young. She was young, and she had young dudes. She was about 5 years younger than me. She was 21. I was 26, and I had shit to lose, right? And so this dude goes to dance on her, and she's trying to walk away, and he's coming up on there, and she's trying to walk away. So I was like, yo, man, that's my girl. Wants back off, And then I explained to her, I was like, I can't do that all the fucking time. You have to be more assertive. I'm not going to come in here and swoop in and save you every time. I may be going to the bathroom. Some dude's going to do that to you. So after that, what she would do is she would push him away. She would push him off or shit like that. But dudes would do it to me all the time. A dude would walk up and start talking to her. And she would go, no, this is my boyfriend. I'm with him. The dude looked me straight in the face and goes, I remember this dude too. He drank his drink. He was like, looks like a fucking lame. I'm like, bro, you're wearing sweats. You're wearing sweats in the club.
Yeah. People don't like to get rejected.
People don't like to get rejected. So, and she would reject them. but they did it to see my reaction. So even though I was like heated inside, I would just laugh. I mean, that's the reason I remember like every single interaction when this, I still to this day remember all these interactions. Like I was pissed.
Yeah, people want to test you. Like I said, people want to get you off your square. People want to see you lose what you have.
Right. And I know people are out there listening. It's like, no, man, you're a man. You gotta take care of that. It's like, so I'm gonna go to jail. Like I'm gonna go to fucking jail for beating some dude up when she was gonna go home with me anyway. So instead of fucking her, I'm sitting there trying to get
You sitting there trying to not get somebody off of you. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can't worry about what other people think, and you don't know what they think about themselves, right?
Right. I'm never going to see this motherfucker again.
Right.
Like, fuck him. Call me a bitch all you want. See ya.
Yeah. It's like I said, people want what you have. A lot of times they're not willing to work for it. And if they can't get it, if they can't do what you can do, then they'll try to sabotage and have you lose everything. That's what I mean. It's just how it is with a lot of people. Not to say most people, but a lot of people. Now, what I was going to say with the whole habits thing is, what I've noticed too is that people don't really say what they mean or mean what they say. So when we look at the whole Capitol Hill incident, right, and when you look at the conflicts in this country, people aren't really willing to honestly say what they feel to the person that they have an issue with. And then the things that they say to the person, they don't really mean. So then we perpetually have issues because nothing is getting solved because neither party is really willing to be honest about really what's going on. And at the heart of what's going on to me is comparing. People are comparing themselves. And with the whole habits thing, because people aren't. So I don't know if this is getting deep, but to kind of go back with that. So if you're constantly not telling people the truth about how you feel, and you're constantly saying things that you don't mean, then that becomes habit, and then habit becomes something you do unconsciously. So then you start lying to yourself. You make a habit of lying to yourself, and that's what I see a lot of people are doing out here. People are actually lying to themselves, and it's it's a habit.
We go real deep on that, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
One of the issues we can't really have conversations with people because they're so emotionally out of it, and they're listening with their emotions, and they're lying to themselves because they don't want to necessarily change. Nobody wants to say. What I see is a lot of people don't really want to be held accountable. Yeah, or be told what you can improve on.
Right.
If they're not going to do it. So if somebody tells me, hey man, you need to do this, you need to focus more, you need to be more organized with your time. If I don't want to do it, I'm just going to make up an excuse as to why I couldn't do it. And then I'm probably just going to get angry at you even insinuating. For real, this is what I'm seeing. I'm just going off of what I see.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, not in all cases. I'm just saying this is what I see and what I've even experienced myself. When other people have told me to do things, and when I actually gave it time, I'm like, okay, well, I guess this person was right. I remember one time my friend told me something, and I laughed at him, but I was so ignorant. I didn't know what he was talking about. It took me years to understand what he was talking about. So that's the kind of scary stuff we dealing with out here. You know what I'm saying? When you really think about it, that you would have people that will argue with you about what's logical and what would help you. That's the other thing I noticed. People will argue with you about what they can do to actually improve their life and help them out. So that's why it's being a scary place right now.
I understand that. Sometimes, like I have a friend. He kind of inserts his opinions about my life. Like he just kind of inserts them a little too much. Right. He's a good dude. Like some things I'll listen to, some things I won't. My biggest thing is if I didn't ask, don't tell me how I can do better. If I didn't ask you, don't tell me. Don't give me unsolicited advice. You're just going to piss me off. And the other thing was when I tried to tell someone, like he was, what did he say to me? He said, "Oh," he was like, "Yeah, well, even if that girl is fucking with her baby dad, you'd still fuck with her." I was like, "No, I wouldn't. No, nope." I'm like, "No." He was like, "Fuck that. Yeah, you would." No, I just fucking told you, man. He was like, "Man, you're lying." He was like trying to convince me that I was lying. And I'm like, "Dude, you are telling me what you would do. I'm not you. You were telling me what you would do. Like, this is not productive at all."
I mean, I've even done it. And I've had to tell myself, hey, don't give unsolicited advice.
Yeah. And he kept telling me over and over. Yeah. But, it can be. Like, for me, it's not, because I lived with my parents for a long time. And they would ask me for advice, right? It's always about working out, right? Because, they feel out of shape and stuff like that. And then eventually I was like, yeah, I don't know what you need to do. Like, I know exactly what they need to do, but they're not going to do it. So I just stopped. Like, I stopped giving them advice, trying to help them out. And this is without them asking like I used to. So I've become a lot better at not giving people advice. Like, you ask me, that's okay. But if I see you next time and you didn't follow through on any of it, don't complain about what you were complaining about before. If you didn't at least try it, don't complain, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of us had a preacher in us. And I think that's the
people naturally want to share their knowledge. I think, yeah,
I think so. We're gonna appear to be knowledgeable, and then you look at our society. Our society is basically a bunch of people giving their opinions on TV. You got hot takes and all this other stuff. I mean, you got the news giving their opinions. I mean, so we're just really conditioned. This is what we see. We're gonna emulate what we see anyway, right?
Right. Yeah, I think the best way to learn anything about a subject is to read a book about it, because you're exactly right. Is the deepest we get into subjects, like when it comes to TV, you're just scratching the surface of it, and you're probably taking someone's opinion. They probably have some kind of agenda to keep you watching. So that's why we have, one side that's conservative and one side that's liberal. Go read a book about it from a guy who spent 3 years researching a fucking subject, and go find out. And they could be biased too, but, go research that subject if you care that much. Like when we're on the show, like you and I just talk about, typically we go, hey, I mean, this is what we observe. We're not saying these are facts or anything like that. This is just what we observe. We're not trying to say, hey, this is the way it is, right? And I think too many people pass off their opinions as facts. And what I was talking about with the other guy is, like when it comes to females real quick, is, guys, and it really kills it, like for someone who's like a good person who goes out there and not a simp necessarily, but someone who doesn't necessarily think with their dick anymore. Guys do that their whole life, man. They think just because a girl's hot or something like that, like you need to go fuck her, right? Well, she's got a baby daddy and a kid. Oh man, you should still fuck her anyway. No. Like, I'm not going to insert myself into that drama. I'm not trying to get in any drama.
Right, I learned my lesson from that.
Yeah, man. Sex is not that important, man.
Yeah,
and
just having a bad relationship with my baby mama, and just realizing that I should have never been with her, and then I guess as a result, just being more careful of who I deal with, because what I realized too is that a lot of times guys think we game females up, but actually a lot of times the females are just gaming us. This is what this is what we never really taught. We kind of get gamed,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, she could still love you and stuff, but they could be cold, dude. Like when they're ready to go, they've been thinking about it.
I'm not even just talking about that. I'm talking about sometimes the initial interaction,
courting,
is something is something that they kind of initiated, but they manipulated it.
They lied. Yeah. They made themselves seem like I really feel like you don't know someone until you're like 2 years, 3 years into a relationship. Once they get comfortable, that's the real person.
Right.
That happened to me too. Like, they start getting comfortable. I'm like, damn it. And then you feel like you're in too deep.
Exactly. Yeah. Then once you're in too deep, and that's when they have the leverage, and that's when they really show their true colors, man. You know,
I know
because
they must take them aside. Yeah.
huh?
They must take them aside to school or something.
I don't know. I guess it's just in them because you know, we just wired differently. But I remember before I lived with my baby mama, she was a lot different. But once we moved in together, and then it was
real quick when you
and then once we had a kid, then it was really. I'm like, man, I made a huge mistake. I already knew I made a mistake, and that's one thing I noticed too in life. Whenever I wasn't just true to myself, not worried about offending people. I don't try to offend people. Some of the things I do say, for some reason, people do get offended, but people can get offended by the truth anyway. I don't try to offend people. I just try to be a pleasant person because I don't want a lot of negativity around me. Because
no,
you know,
I
going
think
through
sometimes when you try to make a point or you're making a point, I think sometimes you come off a little harsh and people don't like that. But I've got used to it.
I get that.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that.
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, man, I'm just trying to have a pleasant life and not have to have this drama. But I've noticed is people will try to bring drama in your life. You know, people will try to bring drama in your life. So the only thing you can do is make sure you careful.
Yeah, it's just like with the Black Lives Matter thing, or not the Black Lives Matter. Let's just say civil rights, right? White people are going around, for example, and they're like, they don't even notice there's a problem. It's the same thing with negative people. Negative people don't know they're negative. People full of drama don't know they're full of drama. And you can't talk to those people. You can't fix them. You just have to let them be them, let them go on their way. Maybe they'll grow up, maybe they won't. Some of them never grow up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's not,
you can't fix broke people.
They'll break you. It's not that they're bad people. Yeah, it's not that
they'll
they're
break
bad
you
people.
before you fix them.
Yeah, negativity is a lot stronger than positivity because it's like a natural way to be because
you think so?
Fear kept you alive. Yeah.
I disagree with that.
Well,
you know why I disagree with that? Go ahead, and then I'll let you know why I disagree with that. Go ahead.
So I was reading this book, and they're talking about how fear is a negative emotion, but it's more fear than negativity. But fear kept you alive. It's like part of your instinct. If the more stuff you feared, the more likely you were to stay alive. Pretty much. It's just kind of how it went. So, like, if something rustles in the bushes, is the example they gave. Now, it could be a rabbit, so you can eat, or it could be a venomous snake, and you're dead. So most people, unless they knew for sure what it was, they would, the people that evolved, unless they knew for sure that it was, they would err on the side of caution, which is fear. Negativity is stronger, positivity has to be cultivated. Negativity is kind of where you start out at, is what I'm trying to get at. What do you think?
Well, I would say when you talk about fear, right? Fear is a state of being, though, right? But it should only be temporary. But I've noticed people live their life in fear. So they're in a state of being that we all know clouds your judgment, right? And
it's
fear, and it's imagined a lot of times. When you use that analogy about the bushes, it's imagined. It could be a tiger, it could not be. It could just be the wind. It could be a rabbit, So it's imagined. Danger is real, but fear is imagined. Now, the reason I say I disagree with negativity being our natural state, I believe it's a part of us, but I don't think it's our natural state because in public, people pretend to be happier than what they are. So if it was our natural state, I think more people would just be negative, right? But people will present themselves, like we were just talking about with, my situation, right, with baby mama, right? She presented herself one way, but really she was another way. She was just pretending. And a lot of people are out here pretending. That goes back to what I was saying before about people not really meaning what they say. People have masks on, man. And bad people Negative people who
they
have
put
bad intentions will in public pretend to be positive.
right, because and we can get into this for a long time, but because positivity they know is more pleasant, but like you said, they're putting on a mask, so the mask is not the natural part. The mask is the part that's more pleasant. When they take off the mask, their natural state is negative, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Everybody wants to be happy, right? Everybody wants to be happy, and they think, and what people don't understand is you don't need shit in your life but maybe a roof and four walls, or just to be living, honestly, and fed, to be happy. Money does make life easier. I get that. Money is not going to make you happy. It will make life easier, but the richest people I've ever met, most of them, they go one of two ways. They're miserable, they got all this money, but they're miserable. They're horrible people to be around. Or they realize that money never meant that much in the first place, and they do everything they can to help others, because helping others is a really good way to cultivate happiness. One thing I wanted to get to, by the way, I don't know how much time we have, but
it's in 90 seconds.
Okay. Well, never mind. We'll talk about it next time. But
no, you go ahead. We can always extend it, but we can go ahead and.
Oh, okay. Performance activism. So performance activism, like let's take the George Floyd thing. Performance activism are people who they would rather look like they're part of the cause, but they don't actually do it. Right? They don't actually. I know we both don't agree that protesting isn't really doing much at this point, but they don't even go.
Not unless you're doing like the Capitol Hill kind of thing. That they got people's attention. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, but they go out and protest, or they don't go out and protest. They just go out and give their opinions because they want to look like they're on the right side. Now, and that's good. That's okay. Yeah. Try to pretend like they're woke, I guess. But really, you need to go out. Like me, I do try to support black businesses again when I can. I don't really drink that much, and the only black business near me is a bar. But I try to take action, for example, and it is hard. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but most of us don't take the action that's needed. The action that's needed is to educate yourself and get to a point where you don't go to your mom's house or your family's house and let them say the N-word or let them talk bad about black people, or you have to take some kind of stand, or support black businesses or things like that. Most people are just putting it on Facebook like, oh, this is so sad, this is just so horrible. And then once they post it, they feel better and they go about the day. That's performance activism. They're putting on a performance. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I've mentioned before that 90% of pro-whites and pro-blacks are frauds, and that's on the low end. So I told you with the activism, what I see is not real. I've seen a dude, a Facebook friend I got. He was out there marching, had a dashiki on and everything, and I said, hey man, I got this book. It's gonna inspire millions of kids. Would you support it? And he wouldn't support it. So maybe it was me. I don't know. Maybe it was me. But I'm just saying, I see it all the time. I know some of these people. I know some of these people.
Yeah.
When you look at their actions, it don't match up, and that's why this is observation, because some things I do need to start matching up. So what I say, that's why I say I don't try to be preachy, because sometimes I notice I can be preachy, but I need to just be more action oriented and let my
lead by example. Yeah, that's the most powerful way. I agree. I think so. That's what I was going to ask you is, as far as me taking action, right? If I'm, because I do that a bit, but the performance activism, and I'm like, no, man. I want to do more. I want to do more than just post on Facebook. I got rid of Facebook. What do you want to do then? Well, that's just it. I was going to ask you. I mean, what can I do?
Run for office.
I can't do that. Not here. I'll lose.
No, that's the only thing I can really think of. Just do what you're doing now. Try to give your perspective then. With
I think
Trump made it
educating.
to where anybody can run at this point. So if you worried about them digging in skeletons and stuff like that, it don't really matter at this point unless you done something super heinous. But even Trump got accused of rape and it didn't matter. So and then that Kavanaugh dude, so that didn't matter. So it really don't matter at this point. Can you resonate with the people? Did your message, help the people? Can they feel it? And are you going to really do something to make a change? Because these politicians out here now. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just think the best thing I could do because and no matter what the subject, but we talk about race a lot, so let's use race, right? So the best thing I could do is educate myself and try to educate other people. And my job to, I guess they call it white ally, right? Like my job to be a white ally is to educate other people, other white people, share what I've learned. And when there's no black people around, and most of my friends know this at this point, but, just check them like, hey man, that's not cool, because if that dude was here, he'd act like you were buddy, and you know not to say that. So, just be the same person. You know what I mean? That's the best I could do right now, I guess. Yeah. That's all I could do.
Yeah, I'm not an activist. I don't want to lead people. I don't want to be with everybody. I don't want to help everybody. You got to be able to help yourself. So we do have people that are good examples of what we can do and have good messages, and I try to go with that because I don't know a lot of these people. I realize that when you talk about bias, we all are biased, and we all have agendas. So I just try to keep that in mind. But if a person says something that can improve, I think would improve my life, then just take it. I have a mentor, and she tells me what she says. She says, treat what I say like a cafeteria. Just take what you want and leave what you don't want. So that's exactly how I do with people. And, the bigger personalities that are out here, I don't know them. So, but if what they say is logical, if it makes sense, if implementing what they say would improve my life, then I probably should take that in consideration and do it.
Right, and I agree with you because I do that with all philosophies and religions and stuff like that. Like, I like what this guy says. I'm going to keep this. I like this. I'm going to keep this. Yeah, I think this is bullshit. I'm not keeping it. Yeah, it's whatever resonates with you, and you build your own philosophy around life. But I just want to touch on what you said about being able to take care of yourself. You cannot take care of anybody else if you cannot take care of yourself mentally, right? So if that's something you want to do, you want to help other people, you have to start with yourself. It's not selfish. It's not selfish at all to want to be a better person, because ultimately, if you're a better person, just by example, you could be a better person to other people. But don't go out there and sacrifice yourself for other people and give your whole self away without helping yourself. I mean, God,
that's what
people who believe in God. Huh?
That's what black people have been doing. We keep saying black and brown coalition and minorities when the minorities don't really help us out or really benefit us.
I mean, it's a mentality. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it comes from like the Bible and stuff. But even in the Bible, people said Jesus doesn't want you to go around there and like give so much until you're suffering. He doesn't want you to suffer either. So the best way to do it is to build yourself up as much as you can and then help people. Kind of like the positivity gauge that we talk about. Build up your positivity as much as you can before you interact with negative people, because they will take some from you.
Yeah, they will. That's what they want to do. I mean, people want, like I said, the issue I have, and what I see with these father groups, we assume that the parent, whether it be the male or the female, as a person, it actually is going to do the right thing for the kid, when a lot of times it doesn't happen. And a lot of times what you see is some of these people are self-destructive, self-sabotaging, and they don't mind. See, you can't be on a boat with a self-sabotager, because while they're poking holes in that ship, you're on that ship with them, and it's a chance you might go down with them. And they don't mind taking the kids with them. In the instance of these bad parents, in an instance of some of these racist and some of these sellout blacks, they don't mind taking down the group, whether it be black or white, and they don't mind taking down this country. Just what I've seen.
Yeah, good parents end up suffering the worst.
Why do you say that?
The ones that, the ones that, you got one parent who sits there and talks shit in front of the kids, and, you got the other parent who does not and refuses to talk shit in front of the kid about the other parent. You know what I mean? And so I think the kids will eventually learn, as they grow. And it sucks because, as you grow up is when you figure out who the better parent were, who really had your interest at heart.
That's what they say, but I'm not sure. Because people don't learn. Adults don't learn. So you just...
I mean, I don't know, if it was my kid and, I was divorced or whatever, they stayed at their mom's house the whole time. By the time they got 18, and I was, doing my best and everything, and they were calling me a loser or whatever their mom called me, all right, well, you're 18, take care of yourself, do everything your mom taught you. Good luck.
Exactly. I mean, I guess that's what some people do. But I mean, you still have to be involved in your kid's life because what happens is they come out here and then they're broken. So then they get with somebody else and get into another broken relationship. So we want to stop these.
Yeah. Well, especially if, with a father and a daughter, I imagine, because I don't have kids. With a father and a daughter, they always say, the daughter ends up, if she has daddy issues, she looks for the approval of men and stuff like that. And they say things like, the daughter was like, well, my dad was never in my life. Well, kid, did you ever think maybe that was your mom's?
Probably not.
No.
And if they did, how do they deal with it? We're not really taught how to deal with these things. That's why I said school is a waste of time. It really doesn't teach us much about life and how to fix our own issues. So even if she did, right, you're gonna have to go through therapy at that point to fix these issues, and you have to be honest with yourself, because more than likely, if your mother was lying to you, then you got to because you're in that environment. So you've learned how to lie to yourself. So then if you're lying to yourself, you can't really fix your problems and identify your problems because you're lying and saying something else is the problem. More than likely somebody else or some other situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of broken people out here, man. And I'm one of them. But I think the best we can do is, I don't think any, racism will never be 100% gone. It just won't. Yeah.
What if white people were 100% not here anymore? Do you think that would end racism?
No, I don't think so. There's a whole, I think it's sociological, theory that there's a reason there's good and bad, right? They both serve a purpose. I think racism will go down, but something else will come up. There's always going to be conflict. But what I was going to say about broken people is we're all broken people, but if you're trying to do better, that's all you got to do. And just realize you're never going to be perfect. I mean, you're going to be a happy person. Realize you're broken. You're not perfect. Just keep trying to do better with yourself.
Yeah. You got to improve and try to fix yourself, though. But you got to make sure that you're not around the sabotagers and the other broken people that pretend to be something they're not. You can't see with your emotions and what you want people to be. You actually have to see things for what they are.
One thing I've noticed is people don't have goals. They don't have goals. They don't write down goals. They don't do anything. I was with a girl, and that's one thing I noticed: no ambition. And I thought about it, because I knew her for a while. Thought about it is this person has not made one goal or done anything hard for themselves in their life. They've never accomplished anything.
And the low ambitious people will resent anybody that wants to do something with their life outside of
not always.
I'm not saying always.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in some cases.
Okay.
In some cases, remember, I'm not saying in all cases. I don't know everything. It's more that I don't know than I do know. I'm just saying in some cases, the low ambitious people will resent you for even trying to do something outside of what they think you should be able to do. and sometimes they will try to sabotage you for it.
Yeah, usually if you get jealous or angry at somebody, it's because it's like a mirror reflecting back on you and your fault. You know, if you're jealous of someone, that means you're mad that they have something that you don't. Right?
Or
so you're talking about jealousy.
We should not compare ourselves. We should not compare ourselves to people we can't be and things. See, what you can do, I might not be able to do, and what I can do, you might not be able to do. And what you want to do, I might not want to do, and what I want to do, you might not want to do. But we're constantly comparing each other, comparing ourselves to other people, and we don't even know. Like, it'd be a waste of time to compare yourself and try to be like somebody that hates themselves, right?
Right. And you know, it's okay. Again, it's okay to be selfish. And like, I really haven't tried to keep up with the Joneses or anything like that. I don't really get jealous of people that have success. See, if somebody else is doing what the fuck they want to do, that's good. The only people I would compare myself to are people that are doing what I want to do, and I would learn from them, but I wouldn't be mad at them. You know, we all get jealous a little bit, but no, I don't know if it goes away as you get older or it goes away like because you realize, who gives a fuck, man? Just take care of you. Take care of you, and everything else will fall into place. Like, somebody was saying, that guy got
somebody was saying that jealousy comes from when you know you're not doing what you need to be doing. So I don't really get jealous because because this is another reason, because most people really all they live for, when you think about it, all people really live for is the ability to buy material things to show off in front of other people. Their whole thing is, and it's not a judgment, I'm just saying that people don't mind spending 40 hours a week on a job just to be able to live for the weekend and to be able to have a car that they can go out and show to other people, or a big TV.
Yeah, they want to show out,
Yeah.
But I thought about that, like, you know, because I'm a car guy, and I do like cars. And I like nice cars, you know, because I've been in nice cars. I like nice cars. But besides the fact that when I could afford it, I was like, do I really, like, you know, this payment's much better than this luxury car over here. And, you know, I had the money for both, right? And I'm like, why would I buy the luxury car? And I realized, like, oh, because I want people to talk about me one a minute. I'm like, fuck it. I'll just get this one. You know, and that's like how it kind of started is if you're confident in yourself and you know you have goals and you're working towards your goals, you really don't have time to pay attention or give a fuck about anybody else, right? So the car I got was a Kia, right? Instead of an Audi, it was a new Kia or like a couple-year-old Audi. And I'm like, why would I do that? This one's got a brand new warranty on it. You know what I mean? Why would I get the Audi? Just because you want to be able to say you have fucked Audi.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
if that's what you want, that's what you see. It's a difference between what you want and
why you get it.
Yeah. You know, it's different. If you want the Audi, get the Audi. But if you're doing it to impress other people, I don't know why you would do that, because a lot of times people try to impress other people to get them to like them when if they faking anyway. If the girl likes you because you have something, I remember one time, like I had some rims on my 300. I had a 300 and it had some rims on it. And I remember a friend of mine would try to talk to this girl and she wouldn't talk to him.
Yeah, the one you threw me out of downtown during lunch. Yeah,
oh, okay.
300.
Okay. So then so I was like, hey man, let's get this chick. So she was walking, right? And so then I pulled up on her and he talked to her again, and then she gave him the number, right? So did she really like him?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or was she just like him because she saw him? He wasn't even driving the car, I was, but did she just like him because she saw him in a car with some rims so she can get attention and use him for clout?
Right. And that's too much, man. Like, that's low self-esteem. You know, it is, man. Like, it's low self-esteem. It's like, if you like it, like, I like things to look nice. I like things to look nice. I like nice things. You know, I like nice clothes and shit like that. But I do it because I want to look good. You know,
Yeah, you
I
still want to look
respect
good.
the
You
mindset.
feel good, right?
Yeah, you look good, you feel good. You know, I get haircuts more often than most people because it makes me feel good. I like having, you know, my shit lined up. You know, it's just it is how it is. But I used to do that. I think that's a child's mentality. It's like I used to do that. You know, you had to have the right clothes in school and shit like that, or people would make fun of you. But the older you get, even the people who still make fun of you for shit like that, or they're just broken people, man. They're spiritually sick.
Mm.
You know, yeah. I mean, they're not talking to you. They're judging you based solely on what you wear.
Just made in China
And,
with somebody else's
right.
logo on it that they don't get any percentage of the profits for.
Right. I really don't buy brand names anymore. Like, if I buy something Nike, I'm going to work out in it. I'm not going to go around. I mean, I know it's not a popular brand name anymore, but, you know, it's something to work out in. I like their stuff. You know, I'm not going to buy a fucking Gucci bag. I'm not going to buy a Gucci wallet. Dudes around here spending $250 on a Gucci wallet, and they don't have any money to put in it.
Yeah, but at least you got that wallet. The wallet.
Hey, you got that wallet.
It's the fishing lure, man. It's the bait.
And that's it too. Is like it perpetuates the cycle if you buy into the cycle, right? You know, if you go ahead, you put all that stuff on, you get that expensive car and all that shit. People make the assumption that you can afford it. Number one. Number two, you make the right assumption by knowing that some shallow girl, woman or other, it doesn't matter, whatever, some shallow person is going to want to kick it with you because they can live off you, you know, vicariously live through you. Yeah.
Shit, not even just vicariously. They can live off of you tangibly with your money, especially if you get pregnant. They can get pregnant, or if they can get you into a marriage. You know, like, you know, and then they ain't no vicariously living at all. At that point, they actually are living off of you.
One of the worst people I ever met that did this, she ended up, I don't know if she married him, but she had a baby with Larry Fitzgerald's brother. Right? Not Larry Fitzgerald, his brother. And she was cute. She was all right. But she just thought that made her the shit. You know, like girls who still chase athletes after high school and college. Oh, you used to play? Oh. So yeah, I'm a teacher now. Whatever, you're an athlete. Like, okay. So she was like, well, you just have to understand when you date an athlete, you have to expect a little bit of cheating. I was like, you are a fucking idiot.
Well, I mean, I guess if you can get, like I said, people don't want to work the jobs that they work now. A lot of people, and if they had the option, if the job wasn't paying them money, they wouldn't be doing it, right? So if you can, if somebody cheats on you, but you can not work and you can live the life of luxury, in a lot of cases, why wouldn't you? I guess. But I just wanted to do one more topic here. I saw on Yahoo where it was a woman arrested in the Capitol Hill riot, and I guess she was like a realtor, I think, or something like that. And she said, "I listened to my president." That's why she was out there, and he basically told her to fight for his freedoms. So she threw Trump. She. But I'm just saying that my whole point is that's an excuse. You're a grown woman, and
yeah, I agree.
She's throwing him under the bus. And what I said before with this whole thing, this is like a suicide cult. White supremacy is a suicide cult, and they basically just want to do degenerate behavior and backstab each other and destroy everything else in this way. It's based off of insecurity, and it basically will eat itself. I told you I talked to the one futurist, and I said, "Hey man, you all eat yourself. You all eat each other." He said, "Yes, we do." So the thing is, in a hypothetical scenario, because you look at Trump, right? You would say some of the other Republicans are racist, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But they turned on
Democrats
Trump, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they all turned on each other. So at the end of the day, for what I see, it would be one person. You know, he done backstabbed the last white person, right? So you have to. First of all, you need other people to practice white supremacy. So you can never get rid of the other people, because at that point you guys are going to really fight each other. But basically,
that just made me laugh real quick. What if there was only one white person in the entire world and he practiced white supremacy?
Well, that's
Go
the whole
ahead.
point. The end game is basically you backstab each other to the point where it's only one person, then that person kills himself. Because what is the end game? You keep there is like I said this it's a suicide cult. They killed a
Yeah, I
police
don't
officer
understand.
that was a Trump supporter.
Mhm.
You know, so how does that work? How do you kill a police officer that's a Trump supporter that's supposed to be on your side? It's not about no loyalty. It's not about no real allegiance. It's about, hey, we want these entitlements because of our skin color. We don't want to work for them, and we'll just do any kind of the dirty low down tactics to try to keep power. Which
Yeah,
is cool
they impeached him.
if that's what you want to do. But
A couple things I got to say about this is so the Democrats impeached him again. I'm like, I don't know why you're fucking impeaching him. You know, if they impeached him, it's so he can't run again. I guess I don't know. But,
right,
you know, it's 2 weeks. I mean, actually, what is it now? 3 days. 3 days till he's gone. You know, you guys are too little, too late. All these Republicans jumping on the bandwagon. I'm like, that is the biggest pussy shit I have ever seen in my life. Like, you guys had plenty of chances. You had plenty of chances to fucking get him out of there and do what was right when you were so fucking scared of him in the first place.
They use him up. He's no use to them anymore. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, dude. This is not no loyalty in this racism game.
Well, he was no use to him in the first place. Well, there was no use to him in the first place because he did what he wanted to do anyway.
But he got
he just did whatever the fuck he wanted to do. People didn't want to get fired, is what it was. People didn't want to get fired. They they wanted to wait until they made sure he couldn't win before they were like, "Oh yeah, let's get him out of here."
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you know, you had all these other times where you could have just had our back as a good person. When he did some of this shit, he almost started a fucking war. You know, blowing that dude up in Iran, and you had all this time, and now you're just like, oh, he's good. It's kind of like a friend who, after the other guy walks away, is like, hold me back. Like, bitch, what are you doing to fight?
Yeah, basically, these politicians. Yeah. At this point, with the politicians, this is a job. They're not civil servants, so it's about: are you in it for the money, or are you trying to help the people? Are you a fraud, or are you for the people? How it is at this point, because this is a job. They're not civil servants. Like, just stop saying they're civil servants. Let's stop saying that they are leaders. Just stop saying that they have solutions, because they don't. They're the liaison.
If you really want to make
the masses and the big corporations and the rich people.
If you really want to make them civil servants, you don't. You know, if you serve one term as senator, you get like a what do they call it? A pension of like over $100,000 a year. Yeah,
that's a pension or a salary.
Well, a pension. If you serve one term as a senator and that's it, that's all you ever serve, you get a pension
of $100,000 a year.
A lot of money.
No wonder people do it.
Well, that's exactly it. I thought you already knew this. And you know, the numbers aren't exactly correct in my head, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But yeah,
you know, they get paid.
Yeah, they do get paid. And
for the life,
you know, it's just like being
for their whole life, for just serving one term,
man.
From what you say, I need to look it up.
Yeah, look it up real quick.
One term.
2 years, right?
What'd you say?
But anyway, so and they also get benefits for them and their family, like the best benefits you can get for them and their family for life. If you really want to be of service, like actually serve, see how many people want that job after. See how many people want that job? He just left. Yeah, just real quick. I think it just ran out. See how many people want that job if you're, you know, paying half that.
Yeah, exactly. I do see a couple different things. I see one. That's fine. I do see where one says that they get $174,000 annually for life.
Yeah, that's it. 174, right?
Yeah. With this, I had to look into this more because it does say that's the Senate, but it does say congressmen don't reap an annual salary for life. They do receive generous retirement benefits though.
Yeah, it's insane. It is
It's a job. It's a sales job, dude. It's just like the sales job, like I said before. You can have a sales job and you'll lie to the customer. You know you're lying to the customer, but that's your job. So their job is to lie to the public.
Yeah, I mean, the people who make the most money in the world are lawyers or some type of salesman, right? So Elon Musk is a salesman. You know, CEOs are salesmen. You know, Jeff Bezos, he's an inventor and a salesman. Most of the people in Congress and stuff like that serve as some kind of lawyer. You know what I mean?
Or sales.
You can have the greatest, or sales, because you can be the greatest. You can have the greatest invention in the world, but if you're an idiot or a dick, no one's gonna buy it.
Yeah, you have to be able to sell it.
Yeah, you have to sell it. Yeah, exactly.
And they've sold, and I'll end on this. They've sold the American people a load of BS. And the American people, either these people are frauds or they're civil servants. If they're civil servants and I'm wrong, hey. But if they're frauds, what are you going to do about it, basically? So I'll end it on that, man.
Right.
You know, like and subscribe. Give us some feedback. Until next time.